Good afternoon. I'm Janice Lindsay, and I have the honor of serving as Europe's National Director of Alumni Relations. We are so excited that each of you has joined us for our second National Alumni Resource Expo. And it's my pleasure this afternoon to introduce Europe's founder and CEO, Gerald Chertavian. Gerald has been committed to working with underserved young adults for decades and is dedicated to closing the opportunity divide that exists in our nation. Determined to make this vision a reality, he combined his entrepreneurial skills and passion for working with young adults to found Year Up in 2000. Gerald began his career on Wall Street as an officer of the Chemical Banking Corporation, and following grad school, he co-founded Conduit Communications. After selling the company in 1999, he turned his full attention to creating opportunities for others. Gerald is a Phi Beta Kappa graduate of Bowdoin College and received his MBA with honors from Harvard Business School. He is also the author of the New York Times bestseller, A Year Up. Gerald and his wife, Kate, are the proud parents of 3 adult children and reside in Boston. Our Year Up students, our alumni, and our staff have no greater champion than Gerald, and I'm really, really happy that you get to hear from him directly today. So please welcome Year Up's founder and CEO, Gerald Chertavian.
Great. Thank you so much, Janice. Very much appreciate the kind introduction, and most importantly, I appreciate the opportunity to chat with our interns across the country. Nothing is better. I wish I could see every single one of you. Yeah, I've had a chance to talk with a whole bunch of students today and yesterday. In fact, I was out and about in Boston, and 2 men who walked by me, they were getting closer to 40, I think. I couldn't really tell. And they said, Gerald, we graduated from Europe 16 years ago. And they were both telling me about their careers, telling me what they're doing as alumni, how their lives had advanced and changed and progressed following graduation from Year Up. And so when I was talking to them yesterday, I was thinking, boy, I'll get a chance tomorrow to talk to our interns who will be soon to walk across that virtual stage and become graduates of this program. And so a couple of things I'd say. The first thing is congratulations, right? You have almost next month or so, you've made it through a rigorous program that has very high expectations. You have worked hard over this past year, and you have earned, not been given, you have earned the right to be called a Year Up graduate. Right? Because when you say the words Year Up graduate, it means something, right? Organizations know what that means. It means a certain standard, a certain level of excellence, a certain level of professionalism that you now carry, not only for yourselves, because you get part of that reputation from the 40,000 young people who have come before you, but you will give that reputation and extend that reputation to the 400,000 folks who will come after you, because Europe is going to continue to serve and grow. So I get excited when I think about you becoming graduates, because remember, the longest phase of the whole Year Up program is graduate, right? You're an L&D for 6 months, you're an intern for 6 months. You're going to be a graduate for a long time, years and years and years. And you have the opportunity to really live out something that I know you believe in, that you take an oath and will take an oath when you graduate, which is that you will lift while you climb, right? You will lift others while you climb. And as you become successful, you will support, enable, empower that next person to get access to their opportunities as well, right? And that's how this continues to evolve as a program, how it continues to strengthen. You know, they say when you get to the top floor in the elevator, hit the down button so the next person can get on and get their chance as well, right? Because you are here today because others have come before you. And as a graduate, you will contribute not only to strengthening yourselves, because I want you to be able to go out and get what you need to build your families, to build your wealth, to build your income, because that allows you to give to others as well. So if you could, I wish you could all see what our graduates are doing across the country. So I was at the a basketball game on Monday in the Celtics, and I was invited to go to the game by one of our board members, and he had tickets to the floor, right? That's pretty cool. You're sitting on the floor of a basketball game, an NBA game. As I'm walking in past the chairs, I look over to my left, and there's one of the Europe graduates sitting on the floor of the Celtics arena. And I was talking to Mike Lombardo, and Mike grew his business after Year Up. He started it, he grew it, he sold it for a huge amount of money. And now he's the one sitting on the floor of the Celtics. And what he said to me, we spoke, he said, Gerald, I really want to give back to Year Up now that I've had some financial success. Let's talk about what type of donation I can make. Let's talk about how my company can hire more interns. And I want you to visualize that, right? As you go forward, think about that day when you're saying, yeah, I'll hire some Europe interns because I now have the power to make that decision. Think about the day you're saying, I'm going to donate some money back to Year Up. Great, we need it because we're going to help another young person get an opportunity. I want you to think about that day when you come back to guest speak to current students to help them to see possible and to give them the confidence that I'm sure like you and I, we all need when we're learning and developing and when we're younger in our careers. But visualize that, right? Think about what that's going to look like, what it's going to feel like. And the reality is, yeah, you're going to continue to work really hard to get there. But the value is getting yourselves in positions of power where you can empower others, right? So we have graduates of the program who manage the Year Up program on behalf of Fortune 500 companies. So their company has hired them full-time to manage 50, 100 interns. Think of the power that gives that individual to create more access, more opportunity. We have graduates who are helping to change the policies in big companies to be more amenable to someone who may not yet have a 4-year degree, maybe someone who had been in the criminal justice system, someone who comes from an underrepresented background. It doesn't matter, but our graduates are able to influence the way things happen because they're getting more powerful. And when we think about the change we want to see in this country, the reality is that you are part of that change mechanism as much as anyone else, right? Peter Ortiz, one of our graduates, just won an election for city council in San Jose, right? That's pretty cool. We have other elected officials who are graduates of this program, and I will promise you they will lead and govern in ways that are more inclusive, more equitable, because they have the real lived experience of what it's like to potentially be from a group that has been either underrepresented or excluded or discriminated against. They will wield power in a way that's better for others. So you guys are critical as you become alums of this program. We are committed to supporting you. And as Janice and the team will show you, there's a whole bunch of things we're doing to provide you with different types of support, whether it's academic, whether it's career with folks like UPRO and others. UPRO is just fantastic at doing this, or whether it's just life support. Hey, how do I deal with this situation, right? So we help you on all 3 of those. We also provide, as I'm sure you've heard, action grants where you can apply to get a grant to serve in your community. It could be a backpack drive for individuals going back to school. It could be a clothing drive for folks who may not have proper clothing in the winter. But we want to support you to serve in your communities as well. And we will write as many checks as is needed to support you in doing the hard work of organizing and serving in your communities. We have a donor who will write unlimited numbers of checks if you will engage in community service and spend that money wisely to create an event in your community. That's pretty cool. So a couple of things I'd say. Almost 25% of Year Up's board of directors, the people who run govern, are responsible for Europe legally, financially, fiduciarily, are graduates of this program, right? Think how cool that is. My performance review was done for the past 4 years by a Europe graduate, right? They sat me down, said, Gerald, here's your performance review. In fact, I keep them with me. And just as a proof of that, probably see, 2021 performance review, right? That was delivered to me by one of a Europe graduate and sat me down and said, here's your strengths, here's your growth areas. And they collected that feedback from around the company, from around the board. But it was a Europe graduate holding me accountable as, to me, that's divine justice, right? Our board members are graduates. We have the National Alumni Association as well. There are lots of ways you can get involved as a graduate to develop your leadership capacity, to serve this movement, to close the opportunity divide, whether it's on behalf of Europe or whether it's about getting involved in an employee resource group in the companies that you'll be working in, so that you can welcome other folks who may be coming from Europe. I want you to stay connected, right? Like being an alum is also a responsibility and an expectation that you'll stay connected. Let us know how you're doing. Let us know what support you might need. See how you can volunteer, how you can get involved, how you can help your company take more Europe interns, how you can recruit another person to come to Europe. But Europe doesn't achieve its mission without an engaged group of alumni. And that's a two-way street, right? We want to support you, and we also need your support. And what we're fighting for is pretty darn important, right? It's about, does this country provide opportunity for those who need and want it in our country? And I'm convinced that if our alums increasingly are engaged, are thriving as they are, advancing in their careers, we're going to have a better country, right? We have almost, 30,000, 27,000 alums today. At some point, we'll have 100,000 alums. At some point, you won't find a Fortune 500 company that doesn't have Europe graduates working there, right? And that'll build up a powerful network across this country, right? The power of Europe is our network of alums across this country. So, I'm pretty excited about where it is you're heading. We need you, so I unabashedly ask for your help and support. And we are unabashed also about supporting you in your journey. And Janice and the team do an amazing job at that. So I really want you to leave here as you graduate, knowing what's the next phase look like, what can you continue to receive from Europe, and then to hold yourself accountable to say, what can I now give to the community, give to others in a way that strengthens our organization and continues to build the movement that our alumni are leading to close the opportunity divide. So, I wish, again, I so wish you could walk in my shoes and see all the graduates I've had a chance to witness in the work they're doing across this country. And I want you to be part of that group and then to make it stronger and better and continue to push us forward. So I'm super excited. I'm just going to go. I see a couple questions. Anonymous attendee, I want to ask, Janice, do you want me to answer any questions in the Q&A that come in? I'm more than happy to.
Gerald, I think we have time for just a couple of questions, and
Sure.
just want to make sure we stay on time. I saw that there are a couple in the chat.
Yep, and you can add questions to the chat. That's great. So, will Europe increase the stipend amount? We are actively looking at that as we speak. We have a significant project that we're working on, and my expectation is yes, we will do that in 2023. We're having to plan it all, talk with partners, look at budgets, finance. But the answer is yes. I don't have the exact final because we're not done the whole thing, and the board has to get approved, has to approve all this. But my expectation is yes, we will do that. But stay tuned. But that's a 2023 event and probably not even till summer of 2023. But answer that. What's the toughest part of your job? Look, I love what I do. I really do. I feel blessed and grateful to work at Year Up. What's hard is when one of our students or graduates is in harm's way. Like I 22 years later, and I still get brought to just kind of tears when one of our students or graduates is in harm's way. And you see sometimes how life is unfair, how bad things happen to good people. And it still breaks my heart when I see that, and it brings me to tears and it keeps me up at night. So that for sure is the hardest part of my job, is when one of our young people happens to come across harm in some way, shape, or form. Let's see, does Year Up help provide opportunities outside of corporate? So the answer is we work in nonprofit sector. We work with many, many hospitals, healthcare organizations. We do work with some nonprofit organizations in terms of internship partners. And then we also work with educational institutions like Harvard, Stanford, have taken hundreds of interns. So kind of educational, healthcare. We have placed some folks in the past in governments, so state government, city government, less in federal government, although we've been trying to do more of that. But so the answer is yes to that. It's not, I could get you the exact numbers, but it's on balance, probably 15% of all of our interns across the country. Gerald, how did the decision to have a virtual graduation come to be versus in-person graduation so previously? So that was driven in part by the pandemic and frankly, our inability to come together in person. And I know the team going forward will be looking at how, when, and where might we go back to change that, or to be more in person, or to figure out what's the right next step. Right now, we continue with virtual, although there's an active discussion to say, what's the next chapter, right? As we all come back from the pandemic and come more in person, we got to figure out how might that look for graduations. I'd personally love in-person graduation. I'd love to think about how we continue to evolve that. And it's an active discussion with the events team and the program team.
And Gerald, I think we have time for one more question. Thank you.
Sure. Let's see. What's the future of Year Up in government? We've tried to place people into the federal government with limited success, but we have placed people in NASA, Department of Agriculture. But it's very hard because federal government centralizes their hiring, and it's really hard to get a full-time job. So you can do the internship, but you often don't get a full-time job. And therefore, it wasn't really meeting the criteria of what we're trying to do for our young adults, is make sure you land in a good full-time job. And I will say, to get involved volunteering, please get involved. There's ways on our website to do it. Janice, you can answer that one probably more fully. I will finish by just saying, I wish you a happy, healthy holiday. Congratulations again on becoming Year Up graduates in the near term. And I look forward to seeing you in days, weeks, months, years to come. And really appreciate all you do. So thank you.
Gerald, thank you so much. Thank you. I always get inspired hearing from you, and I'm sure that our interns and other guests did as well. And I want to thank everybody. I tell you, the chat was blowing up, and I just wanted to compliment you all on such thoughtful questions. We are recording this session, and we'll also be able to look at transcripts of the chat. So we'll do our best to get answers to those who didn't get a chance to hear directly from Gerald in terms of responses. But we definitely appreciate your really, really thoughtful questions. Several of them, I thought, these are really great questions, and you all are definitely on the right track in terms of, thinking about Year Up and what our long-term vision looks like. So we appreciate you participating. And I just to wrap up, as you've heard several times this afternoon, including from Gerald directly, the alumni phase is the longest phase of Year Up's program. And once you graduate, you'll be joining a community of nearly 26,000 alums across the country. So think of those alums as being your community, your personal and professional network of folks who had a very, very similar experience as you have, successfully completing the Year Up program. And our alumni relations team, those really impressive folks who presented during the breakout sessions, are all members of our alumni relations team. And we are here to encourage you to become lifelong, active and engaged alums, and also to provide resources, services, and support to help you advance in your career and education, contribute back to Year Up, and to take action in this opportunity movement. We hope that you've enjoyed today's Expo and you've learned more about those resources and services and supports that are available to you as alums. More information about these resources is available by using the QR codes shared in the breakout sessions, or you can learn more by visiting our website, yearupalumni.org. I want to congratulate you on behalf of the entire team on making it this far through the program. Congratulations. You're almost to the finish line of graduation. You're almost there, just a few more weeks. And we look forward to, on behalf of everyone at Year Up, welcoming you as our newest alums in just a few short weeks. So again, thank you for spending some time with us this afternoon. We hope that you found this beneficial, and we'll look forward to working with you all very, very soon. Good afternoon, everyone.